Akashvani presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Anuja Kumar. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses joint session of US Congress in Washington, D.C. Says India and US together will give better future to the world and better world to the future. Mr. Modi says India's vision is pro-planet progress, pro-planet prosperity and to create pro-planet people. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Joe Biden hold bilateral talks at White House, discuss ways to further deepen India-US partnership. Home Minister Amit Shah to inaugurate and lay foundation stones of various development projects in Jammu and Kashmir during his two-day visit to state beginning today. Two-day G20 Labour Summit to conclude in Patna. And in Taipei Open Badminton, HS Pranoy to play his quarter-final match this afternoon. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said the India-US partnership augurs well for the future of democracy. He said the US is the oldest and India the largest democracy. He said democracy is the culture that gives wings to thought and expression. The Prime Minister was addressing the joint session of US Congress in Washington, D.C. He said India is blessed to have democratic values since time immemorial.
Democracy is one of our sacred and shared values. It has evolved over a long time and taken various forms of systems. Throughout history, however, one thing has been clear. Democracy is the spirit that supports equality and dignity. Democracy is the idea that welcomes debate and discourse.
The Prime Minister said India and the US shall demonstrate that democracies matter and democracies deliver, adding that they together will give a better future to the world and a better world to the future. The Prime Minister said we must revive multilateralism and reform multilateral institutions with better resources and representation that applies to all our global institutions of governance, especially the UN. Mr. Modi said, when the world has changed, our institutions too must change. He said the lives of great individuals like Martin Luther King Jr. and Mahatma Gandhi have inspired both India and the United States, forging a deep connection between our nations. The Prime Minister said it is always a great honor to address the United States Congress, and it is an exceptional privilege to do so twice. He said in the past few years, there have been many advances in AI or artificial intelligence, and at the same time, there have been even more momentous developments in another AI, that is, America and India. Mr. Modi said throughout the history, US have embraced people from around the world, and there are millions in US who have roots in India. He said some of them sit proudly in the chamber of US Congress. The Prime Minister said last year, India celebrated 75 years of its independence. He said every milestone is important, but this one was special. Mr. Modi said India is the home to all faiths in the world and we celebrate all of them.
In this century, when India sets benchmark in growth, it will inspire many other countries to do the same. Our vision is सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास, सबका प्रयास. It means together for everyone's growth, with everyone's trust and everyone's effort. Let me share with you how this vision is translating into action with speed and scale.
Mr. Modi said when he first visited the US as Prime Minister, India was the 10th largest economy in the world.
When I first visited the US as a Prime Minister, India was the 10th largest economy in the world. Today, India is the 5th largest economy. And India will be the 3rd largest economy soon. We are not only growing bigger, but we are also growing faster. When India grows, the whole world grows.
The Prime Minister said today in modern India, women are leading us to a better future. He highlighted that India's vision is not just of development that benefits women, it is of women-led development where women lead the journey of progress. Mr. Modi said India's vision is pro-planet progress, pro-planet prosperity and to create pro-planet people.
Mission Life, lifestyle for environment. This is a way to make sustainability a true people's movement. To live it, to be the job of governments alone. By being mindful in making choices, every individual can make a positive impact. Making sustainability a mass movement will help the world reach the net zero target faster. Our vision is pro-planet progress. Our vision is pro-planet prosperity. Our vision is pro-planet people.
The Prime Minister said this is not an era of war, but it is one of dialogue and diplomacy. He said we all must do what we can to stop the bloodshed and human suffering. Mr. Modi said more than 2 decades after 9/11 and more than a decade after 26/11 in Mumbai, radicalism and terrorism still remain a danger for the whole world.
More than 2 decades after 9/11 and more than a decade after 26/11 in Mumbai, radicalism and terrorism still remain a pressing danger for the whole world. These ideologies keep taking new identity and forms, but their intentions are the same. Terrorism is an enemy of humanity and there can be no ifs and buts in dealing with it. We must overcome all such forces sponsoring and exporting terror.
Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Joe Biden held bilateral talks at the White House. The Prime Minister's office said they reviewed the entire spectrum of India-USA ties and discussed ways to further deepen the partnership. MEA spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said the two leaders reviewed the various facets of India-USA ties and discussed ways to further deepen them for the peace and prosperity of people of both the countries and for the global good. He said both leaders held talks together in their determination to take the comprehensive global strategic partnership to the next level. Later in the press statements, Mr. Modi said today holds a special significance in the history of India-US relations. He said a new chapter has been added to the India-US Comprehensive Global Strategic Partnership.
भारत और अमेरिका के संबंधों के इतिहास में एक विशेष महत्व रखता है कि हमारी चर्चा और हमारे द्वारा लिए गए महत्वपूर्ण निर्णयों से हमारी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव ग्लोबल स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप में एक नया अध्याय जुड़ा है, एक नई दिशा और नई ऊर्जा मिली है.
US President Joe Biden in the press statement said, together US and India are unlocking a shared future. He said the partnership is among most consequential in world that is stronger, closer and more dynamic in any time in history. Mr. Biden said economic relationship is also booming and trade between both the countries has doubled in the past decade.
Will be one of the defining relationships of the 21st century. Two proud nations whose love of freedom secured our independence.
Later, US President Joe Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden hosted a state dinner in honor of Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the White House. While thanking them for the dinner, Mr. Modi said this evening is made special by the presence of the people of two countries as they are our most precious assets. The US President said they had a wonderful time with Prime Minister Modi. He said tonight they celebrate the great bonds of friendship between India and the United States. Industrialists Mukesh Ambani and Anand Mahindra were among the guests at the state dinner. Prominent Indian origin industry executives Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella and Indra Nui were also in the guest list. This is Akashvani giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. Union Home Minister Amit Shah is visiting Jammu and Kashmir today for a 2-day tour during which he will inaugurate and lay foundation stones of various development programs. The Home Minister's visit holds great significance for the region as it underscores the government's commitment to development, security and honouring the sacrifices of the security forces. More from our Jammu correspondent.
On his arrival in Jammu today, the Home Minister will lay wreaths on the statue of BJP ideologue and Bharatiya Janasangh founder Shyama Prasad Mukherjee in the Trikutanagar area. He will lay the foundation stone of the Central Forensic Sciences Laboratory at Samba and also inaugurate and lay foundation stones of various development schemes in the state. Later in the day, the Home Minister will arrive in Srinagar and inaugurate and lay the foundation stones for several development projects. He will also attend the Vitasta Mahotsav in Srinagar in the evening. On the second day of his visit tomorrow, the Home Minister will lay the foundation stone for the Balidan Stamp Memorial at Pratap Park in the heart of Lal Chowk in the Srinagar city to honour the sacrifices and heroic deeds of the security forces. Nasir Rathar for Akashvani News from Jammu.
On the concluding day of the two-day G20 Labour Summit in Patna, several bilateral and multilateral meetings are scheduled to take place. The delegates will discuss draft statement on universal social security, women and future of work. Trade union leaders, experts, academia and government officials are participating in the summit. The G20 Labour Summit will also adopt a resolution which consists a summary of consensus on core issues. Later in the day, a joint statement will be issued by the past, present and future chairmen of Troika countries comprising Indonesia, India and Brazil. The chairman of Labour 20 Group, Hiranmay Pandya, will hand over the baton to next chairperson Ruth Kolo Monteiro of Brazil. In Assam, flood situation is grim as nearly 5 lakh people are still reeling under the deluge across 22 districts. A total of 1,366 villages in 58 revenue circles are affected due to flood and over 14,000 hectares of crop area has been damaged across the state. One person lost his life in Tamulpur district. According to Assam State Disaster Management Authority, several embankments, roads, bridges and other infrastructure have been damaged by floodwaters in several districts. River Beki, Manas, Pagladia, Putimari and Brahmaputra at Nimati-Ghat and Dhubri are flowing above the danger level. The meeting of leaders of 15 opposition parties will be held today in Patna. Senior JDU leader and Chief Minister of Bihar, Nitish Kumar, and RJD's Tejasvi Prasad Yadav had initiated the drive last year for consolidating opposition parties for 2024 Lok Sabha elections by visiting several states. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, Tamil Nadu CM M.K. Stalin, Delhi CM Arvind Kejriwal and Punjab CM Bhagwant Mann reached Patna yesterday for the gathering. Senior Congress leader Rahul Gandhi and his party president Mallikarjun Kharge will also join the meet. In Taipei Open Badminton Tournament, Indian shuttler and third seed HS Pranoy will play the men's singles quarter-final match against Angus Ng Ka Long of Hong Kong in Taipei today. And now for a look at today's newspapers, it's over to Sarabjit Kaur.
Thank you, Anuja. All the dailies have mentioned about the key defence deals amid Modi-Biden bonhomie rising to next level during PM Modi's ongoing US visit. Modi-Biden agree on new chapter in ties, vow to work for global good, writes the Asian Age. While Hindustan Times says, GE to Micron landmark deals delivered across varied sectors. US set to allow in-country renewal of H-1B, notes the Times of India. A headline in the Economic Times writes, no change in rates but RBI red flags likely flood inflation amid worries of El Nino. In a first for government schemes, face authentication now in PM Kisan mobile app, reports the Indian Express. And finally, aimed at encouraging reading culture, the national capital will be hosting a 2-day unique festival of libraries from across the world, reports the Hindu. And with that, it's back to you, Anuja.
Thank you, Sarabjit. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses joint session of US Congress in Washington, D.C., says India and US together will give better future to the world and better world to the future. Mr. Modi says India's vision is pro-planet progress, pro-planet prosperity and to create pro-planet people. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Joe Biden hold bilateral talks at White House, discuss ways to further deepen India-US partnership. Home Minister Amit Shah to inaugurate and lay foundation stones of various development projects in Jammu and Kashmir. two-day G20 Labour Summit to conclude in Patna, and in Taipei Open Badminton, H.S. Pranoy to play his quarter-final match this afternoon. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.